It's National CP Awareness Day. And I know we've been celebrating CP Awareness Month, all month long, but this is the specific day. We want to bring awareness to CP because it is the most common disability for children, and children with disabilities, well, CP, grow up to be adults who still have CP. And I know that's hard to comprehend. Some doctors, they don't like to say that it progresses, that it gets worse. I have friends that walked unassisted. They backpacked, they hiked, some of them ran track, and now they're in power wheelchairs. So yes, it progresses. My personal experience of it progressing is I started at 10. So all the things that I learned from 0 to 10, I have lost those abilities. Starting to lose those abilities at 10. I gained the ability to hold up my head because at first when I was born, once it got to the age where you were supposed to be doing all the things that babies do, that's when they realized that there was something wrong. So I couldn't roll over, I couldn't hold up my head. Those are things that are really scary for my parents. So they took me in and found out that I had CP. And so I gained the ability to hold up my head. I gained the ability to sit, balance, use a walker. I had braces. All those abilities that I gained that I worked really hard in. I've been in therapy since I was 3. And all those abilities started to fade once I hit 10. And by 19, I lost the complete ability to walk and use a wheelchair full time, and I have since then. But from the time I learned to walk to 19, I walked horribly. I always like to say it was like a drunken sailor, zombie, pirate. Yeah, it was not good. When you walk the way that I had to walk, because compensating for muscles that didn't work and miscommunication from my brain to my spinal cord, it was iffy. And I had significant spasticity, which has only gotten worse as I gotten older. Chronic fatigue, chronic pain, spinal issues. The list goes on and on of all the things that have gotten worse as I gotten older, simply because of the way I walked. I did have a doctor say once, well, if you hadn't walked like that for so long, you wouldn't have pinched nerves, you wouldn't have nerve damage, you wouldn't have chronic pain like you have now. Well, thanks, because I was told from an early age, walk, 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 no matter what. But I have friends that love cars, and they would never drive a car out of line because the car will eventually fall apart. And that's pretty much what happened. But the problem is, the doctors seem to think that it's just you're aging faster. And those of us who are living it, we feel like it's a progressive disorder beyond that. Because I don't know how many 30-year-olds lose the ability to swallow and have to be really, really careful because the muscles in their neck suddenly, which they didn't have any problems before, now they're having trouble swallowing. Or they've never had trouble with their bladder, or they've never had trouble with their bowel, but now they have to have colostomies, and they have problems with their bladder, and there's just all these things that are happening to us as an adult, and they're just writing it off like you're just aging faster, when I've known a lot of older people in my life, and none of them needed a colostomy or any kind of help with their bladder to the extent that someone with CP does. Not everybody, obviously, but I've seen so many people that do. Herniated discs, and they go all the way down their spine, not just one thing here, one thing there. Even if there's not any of that damage, still losing the ability to move their legs while in therapy, I mean, let's face it, I've been in therapy since I was 3. All my life I've been in therapy. I mean, it was consistent as a kid, and then you, as an adult, you still do therapy. But it, for me personally, it didn't make much of a difference. It didn't help me walk better. It didn't stop my progression. So if you have CP, and it kind of mirrors the way mine went, where I started losing my abilities at 10, and slowly, and by the time I was 19, I could not walk any longer, and you have iffy sensation throughout your body, let me know down in the comments, because I want to know how many people this is happening to. I run a support group, CP, pain, and fatigue, and most of it is all women, and there's a few guys, but most women, and we have wide body pain. I do, at least. All of us, but I have everywhere. Not just in joints, not just muscles, everything. Everything hurts from my neck down to everywhere. Now, do you have that? Do you have CP, and is that something that happens to you? Or are you the type that just has like pain in your hip or an occasional pain in your back? Because since I was 10, I've had constant horrific pain in my back. And there's like little changes, little arthritic changes, but there's nothing that says this is why this is happening. And I say all this because we need research. The little kids are getting all the care, all the technology, all the things, but as an adult, we're not. We're overlooked. We're not getting any of the technology, and if you can afford specialized therapy, which costs a fortune, you're left out in the dark. And yes, some people are doing better with CP than others. It's such a broad spectrum of a disorder. Some of my friends, they limp, and the only way you know that they have CP is when they're tired, and then they stagger a little. Or I have friends who are only paralyzed on this side of the body and affected, and this side of the body's fine. And then I have most of my friends are from the waist down, and I have friends that are quads, so they're higher up, their disability, their arms are affected. And some of my friends cannot speak or have trouble speaking, and which does not affect intellect at all, unless there's co-contributing disabilities on top of it. But if it's just straight CP, they're fine. It's motor. It's all motor, just like swallowing. There's so many muscles in your neck that have to work together for you to swallow, and which is scary when you have that problem. I have dysphagia, and so I have to be real careful, and I have to eat really, really slow. So anyway, I just wanted you guys to know about CP and a little bit about me and my version. I mean, there's just so many versions. And we're agreeing because, support us. And to my CP sisters, hang in there, leave me a message, and if you want to let me know how your CP affects you, that would be great. So I'll see you later. Have a blessed day.